Dracula by Bram Stoker. Dracula is a gothic horror novel that tells the story of Count Dracula, a vampire who seeks to spread his undead curse to England. The novel begins with Jonathan Harker, a solicitor, traveling to Dracula's castle in Transylvania to assist the Count with a real estate transaction. Soon, Harker realizes he is a prisoner and that Dracula is far more than he seems. After Dracula travels to England, he begins preying on Lucy Westenra, a young woman who falls mysteriously ill. As Lucy's friends and family try to save her, they enlist the help of Professor Abraham Van Helsing, who understands the threat Dracula poses. The novel is an exploration of fear, superstition, and the conflict between modern science and ancient evil as a group of characters work together to confront and destroy Dracula. Let's deep dive into the book. Jonathan Harker's Journey to Transylvania. The novel opens with Jonathan Harker, a young English solicitor, traveling to Count Dracula's castle in Transylvania to assist him with a real estate transaction in England. Harker's journey is marked by ominous signs. Superstitious villagers warn him against proceeding, and he is given charms to protect him from evil. When Harker arrives at the castle, he is initially welcomed by Dracula, but soon realizes he is a prisoner. He witnesses the Count's strange behavior, including his ability to scale walls and his lack of reflection. Harker's horror grows as he discovers Dracula's true nature, a vampire who plans to leave Transylvania and spread his curse in England. Dracula's arrival in England. After escaping Dracula's castle, Harker's story shifts to England, where Dracula arrives via ship, bringing death and mystery with him. His arrival coincides with the strange illness of Lucy Westenra, a beautiful young woman who is engaged to Arthur Holmwood. Lucy's health rapidly declines as she begins to suffer from sleepwalking and unexplained blood loss. Unbeknownst to her friends, Lucy has been visited by Dracula, who feeds on her blood. Her condition baffles her doctors, and despite the care of Dr. Seward and his mentor, Professor Abraham Van Helsing, Lucy's life hangs in the balance as Dracula tightens his grip on her. The hunt for Dracula. Van Helsing, who quickly recognizes the signs of vampirism, leads the group of Lucy's friends, Arthur, Dr. Seward, Quincy Morris, and Jonathan Harker, on a quest to stop Dracula. Despite their efforts, Lucy dies and becomes a vampire herself. The group is forced to destroy her by driving a stake through her heart, an act that is both painful and necessary. After Lucy's death, the focus shifts to Mina Murray, Jonathan Harker's fiancée, who becomes the next target of Dracula's evil influence. Mina's gradual descent into Dracula's power motivates the group to intensify their efforts to track down and destroy the vampire. Dracula's influence on Mina. Mina Harker, a strong and resourceful woman, becomes the key to the group's battle against Dracula. After Jonathan's escape from Dracula's castle, the two marry, but Mina soon falls under Dracula's influence. The Count begins feeding on her, leaving her with a psychic connection to him. Van Helsing and the others use this connection to track Dracula's movements, but Mina's condition worsens as the vampire's control over her grows. Her transformation into a half-vampire raises the stakes for the group, as they realize that killing Dracula is the only way to free Mina from his curse. The chase back to Transylvania. Determined to stop Dracula once and for all, the group chases him across Europe, back to his castle in Transylvania. Using Mina's psychic connection to Dracula, they follow him as he attempts to flee to his homeland. The pursuit is tense and fraught with danger, as Dracula's influence grows stronger and Mina's life is increasingly at risk. The final confrontation takes place outside Dracula's castle, where the group engages in a desperate battle to prevent the Count from returning to his full strength. In the climax, Jonathan and Quincy manage to strike the final blow, killing Dracula and releasing Mina from his control. Dracula's death and the triumph of good. In the final scenes, Dracula is destroyed when Jonathan Harker and Quincy Morris stab him in the heart and cut his throat. Dracula's body crumbles into dust, symbolizing the triumph of good over evil. The group celebrates their victory, but the cost is high. Quincy Morris dies from wounds sustained in the fight. Mina is freed from Dracula's influence, and the group returns to England, forever changed by their experience. The novel concludes with a sense of relief, but also a reminder of the lingering presence of evil, as the group reflects on their struggle and the forces they have faced. The fear of the unknown. A central theme in Dracula is the fear of the unknown, represented by Count Dracula himself. As a supernatural being, Dracula embodies the fears of Victorian society: disease, death, and the collapse of order. His foreign origins and his ability to move between worlds, life and death, make him a terrifying figure who cannot be fully understood or controlled. The novel's characters, especially Van Helsing, represent the modern, scientific approach to solving problems, but even they must confront ancient superstitions and methods to defeat Dracula. This tension between science and superstition reflects the broader anxieties of a society grappling with rapid change and uncertainty. Let's meet together the main characters of the book. Count Dracula is the novel's antagonist, an ancient vampire who has lived for centuries by feeding on the blood of the living. He is portrayed as a cunning and charismatic figure with the ability to manipulate and control those around him. Dracula's supernatural powers, including shape-shifting, mind control, and immortality, make him a formidable enemy. His goal is to expand his influence by moving to England, where he preys on Lucy and Mina. Dracula's character embodies the themes of corruption, immortality, and the fear of the unknown. He represents an ancient, malevolent force that threatens the modern world and must be destroyed. Jonathan Harker is a solicitor and one of the novel's main protagonists. His journey to Dracula's castle at the beginning of the novel serves as the reader's introduction to the Count and his dark powers. Harker's initial rational approach to his work is shattered when he realizes he is a prisoner in Dracula's castle and that his life is in danger. After escaping, Harker marries Mina and becomes a key member of the group that hunts Dracula. Harker's transformation from a passive victim to an active participant in the fight against evil reflects the novel's theme of courage in the face of darkness. Mina Harker, Jonathan's wife, is a central character in the novel and represents virtue, intelligence, and loyalty. Mina's resourcefulness and strength make her an invaluable member of the group fighting Dracula. However, she becomes a target of the Count, who begins to control her through a psychic connection after biting her. Mina's struggle to resist Dracula's influence highlights her inner strength, as well as the danger posed by his corrupting power. Her eventual rescue from Dracula's control is a key motivator for the group's quest to destroy the vampire. Mina's character embodies the themes of purity, loyalty, and the battle between good and evil. Professor Abraham Van Helsing is a Dutch doctor, an expert on obscure diseases and the supernatural. He is the first to recognize that Lucy's illness is caused by a vampire, and he leads the group in their fight against Dracula. Van Helsing is a symbol of both scientific knowledge and faith, as he combines his medical expertise with traditional methods of combating vampires, such as garlic, crucifixes, and holy water. His wisdom, bravery, and leadership make him a central figure in the novel's fight against evil. Van Helsing's character represents the blending of science, superstition, and faith in the battle against ancient evil. Lucy Westenra is a beautiful, kind-hearted young woman and Mina's best friend. At the start of the novel, Lucy is courted by 3 men: Arthur Holmwood, Dr. Seward, and Quincy Morris, all of whom love her deeply. However, after Dracula arrives in England, Lucy becomes his victim, falling prey to his nightly visits and gradually wasting away. Despite Van Helsing's efforts to save her, Lucy dies and becomes a vampire. Her transformation from an innocent young woman into a predatory creature symbolizes the novel's exploration of corruption and the loss of innocence. Lucy's eventual destruction by her friends marks the tragic end of her character. Arthur Holmwood, later Lord Godalming, is Lucy's fiancé and one of the men who fights to destroy Dracula. Arthur's love for Lucy motivates him to join Van Helsing's group in their quest, and he plays a significant role in her eventual destruction after she becomes a vampire. Arthur's grief over Lucy's death and his determination to avenge her reflect the novel's themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and the power of love. Though Arthur is not as prominent as some of the other characters, his personal loss drives much of the emotional weight of the story. Dr. John Seward is a former suitor of Lucy and the head of a lunatic asylum. He becomes a key member of the group fighting Dracula, offering his medical expertise and scientific approach. Seward is dedicated to understanding Lucy's mysterious illness, and he turns to his mentor, Van Helsing, for help. Seward's character represents the rational, scientific side of the novel's conflict, but he also grapples with the supernatural elements introduced by Van Helsing. His diary entries provide much of the novel's structure, offering insight into the events as they unfold. Quincy Morris is an American adventurer and one of Lucy's suitors. He is a brave and loyal friend, willing to risk his life to save Lucy and later Mina from Dracula's influence. Quincy's rugged, heroic nature makes him an essential part of the group's efforts to track down and destroy the vampire. In the novel's final battle, Quincy is mortally wounded while helping to kill Dracula, sacrificing his life for the greater good. His death adds a note of tragedy to the novel's conclusion, highlighting the theme of sacrifice in the fight against evil. Let's explore together the main themes and concepts of the book. The conflict between science and superstition. In Dracula, the conflict between modern science and ancient superstition is a major theme. Van Helsing, who is both a doctor and a man of faith, embodies this struggle. While his scientific knowledge helps him identify the symptoms of vampirism, he must also rely on ancient methods, garlic, crucifixes, holy water, to combat Dracula's supernatural powers. The novel suggests that while science is valuable, it has limits when facing the supernatural. Dracula's power represents the persistence of ancient fears and mysteries that cannot be easily explained or defeated by modern rationality alone, highlighting the need for both science and faith in confronting evil. The power of evil and corruption. Dracula's influence over his victims, particularly Lucy and Mina, symbolizes the power of evil to corrupt innocence. As Dracula feeds on Lucy, she transforms from a vibrant young woman into a creature of the night, eventually becoming a vampire herself. Similarly, Mina, who is initially portrayed as strong and virtuous, becomes vulnerable to Dracula's power as he exerts control over her mind and body. The novel explores how easily people can be drawn into darkness and how difficult it is to escape once they have been touched by evil. Dracula's ability to corrupt others is central to his character, making him a figure of terror and seduction. Gender roles and sexuality. Dracula also explores Victorian anxieties about gender roles and sexuality. The novel portrays women like Lucy and Mina as embodiments of purity and virtue, but their encounters with Dracula reveal a more complex dynamic. Dracula's attacks on Lucy and Mina are often described in sensual terms, reflecting the period's anxieties about female sexuality and the disruption of traditional gender roles. While Lucy succumbs to Dracula's influence and becomes a vampire, Mina remains a more traditional, pure woman, although she is briefly tainted by Dracula's bite. The novel reflects the tension between repressed desire and the fear of sexual transgression in Victorian society. The strength of friendship and loyalty. Despite the horrors they face, the characters in Dracula are united by friendship, loyalty, and a shared sense of duty. Jonathan, Mina, Van Helsing, Dr. Seward, Arthur Holmwood, and Quincy Morris form a close-knit group dedicated to defeating Dracula and protecting each other. Their bond provides the strength they need to overcome the Count's evil influence. The novel emphasizes the importance of teamwork, sacrifice, and trust in the fight against darkness. This theme of unity contrasts with Dracula's isolation and manipulation of others, underscoring the novel's message that good can only triumph over evil through collective effort. Immortality and death. Dracula's immortality is one of the defining aspects of his character, and the novel explores the tension between life and death. While Dracula has achieved a form of eternal life, it comes at the cost of his humanity. His existence is parasitic, and he must feed on the blood of the living to sustain himself. The novel raises questions about the nature of immortality and the price one must pay for it. In contrast, the mortal characters, such as Quincy Morris, who sacrifices his life to defeat Dracula, embrace their mortality as part of the natural order. The novel suggests that immortality, when achieved through evil means, is ultimately hollow and corrupt. Let's talk about the author. Bram Stoker, born in 1847 in Dublin, Ireland, is best known for his iconic Gothic novel Dracula, 1897. Stoker's background in theater, having worked as the manager for actor Henry Irving, influenced his dramatic and atmospheric writing style. Dracula was not an immediate commercial success, but over time, it became one of the most famous works of Gothic literature, shaping modern depictions of vampires in popular culture. Stoker wrote several other novels and short stories, but none achieved the lasting impact of Dracula. Stoker's creation of Count Dracula, a character steeped in mystery, horror, and allure, has left an enduring legacy in literature, film, and folklore. Stoker died in 1912, leaving behind a literary work that continues to inspire adaptations and reinterpretations to this day. Sincere thanks for watching. If you found this summary helpful, consider taking a moment to hit the subscribe button, like or share the video. If you have any feedbacks or book requests, make sure to leave a comment. Regardless, I wish you a great day.